Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an honor and a privilege, as it is every day as we get together to talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, a little bit of TV, a little bit of some other stuff too, whatever is on your guys' minds. Now, we got a bunch of things we're going to talk about here today. The brand new Solo trailer dropped yesterday, resetting everybody's expectations. We're going to talk a little bit about the advanced screenings of Avengers Infinity War, the significance of The Accountant. We got the movie news feed, your guys' reactions to the great new movie A Quiet Place. But before we get to any of that, let's go right off the top. And off the top today, we're talking about a little bit of box office. Now, initially, A Quiet Place was projected to make around 30. They adjusted that up to about $40 million that it could make. But the word of mouth was so strong around A Quiet Place that A Quiet Place expectedly took the number one spot at the box office, but even exceeded expectations, came in at $50 million for this wee little film, A Quiet Place. A fantastic, far better than expected result for that movie, and completely deservedly so. This movie's great. Ready Player One comes in number 2, only taking a 40% drop at the box office. I thought it could have been a little bit of a bit of a drop off. Really happy to see it was only about 40. Ready Player One comes in the number 2 spot, $25 million. The comedy blockers also exceeded expectations a little bit. They were expecting blockers to make anywhere between about 16 and 20. Comes in about 21.5 or close to 21.5. Black Panther still in there, making another $8.4 million. Of course, Black Panther climbed into the number 3 spot of the all-time domestic box office charts, which is just insane as it now starts to head into the final probably 2 or 3 weeks of its run. And coming in 5th place, that faith-based film, I can only imagine, for its 4th week in the top 5, making another $8.3 million. This little film has a reported budget of $7 million and has now made about $70 million at the box office. But of course, the story here is A Quiet Place and the fantastic results. And I'm really excited to get to your guys' reactions to Quiet Place. We'll get to that in just a little bit here on the show. Now, before we get into the main topics, I like to make sure if you guys watch the John Campea Show, you are caught up to date on all the significant stuff going on in the world of movie news, even if we don't have time to go in depth into every single one of those discussions. So this is a little segment we call the Movie News Feed. First up, we've known for some time that Arnold Schwarzenegger is back in the upcoming Terminator film with James Cameron producing and Deadpool director Tim Miller helming the project. It was initially slated for a summer release date of July 26, 2019. However, according to reports, Paramount has now pushed back the release date, not by much, about 4 months, to its new release date of November 22nd, 2019. Also interesting in the reports is the official working title of the film. Skydance and Paramount are labeling the project Terminator 3. It was mentioned earlier that the new Terminator film would be a direct sequel to Terminator 2 and would essentially ignore all the other Terminator projects, but I guess calling it Terminator 3 certainly puts an exclamation point on that. Look, just by nature, I'd be excited about a new Terminator movie anyway, but James Cameron being back and Miller directing seems like a no-brainer. Next, the giant shark film Meg is currently set to debut on August 10th later this summer. As of right now, we still don't have a trailer for the film, but we do have this crazy looking official image from it. I mean, the sheer size of the shark they're going for here is pretty impressive. In the film, a deep sea submersible, part of an international undersea observation program, has been attacked by a massive creature previously thought to be extinct and now lies disabled at the bottom of the deepest trench in the Pacific Ocean with its crew trapped inside. With time running out, expert deep sea rescue diver Jonas Taylor, played by Jason Statham, is recruited by a visionary oceanographer to save the crew and the ocean itself from this unstoppable threat, a prehistoric 75-foot-long shark known as the Megalodon. It feels like they've been trying to get this particular film going for at least 10 years now. Jason Statham is an interesting addition to it. Let's see how it turns out. Next up, while Ready Player One didn't have a spectacular opening weekend at the box office, certainly not as big as it deserved because, believe me, the movie is absolutely fantastic. It's proving to have decent legs due to positive reviews and strong word of mouth from people who have been seeing it, especially internationally. According to Coming Soon, Ready Player One is scoring large numbers at the box office, accumulating over $300 million at the global box office as it enters into its second weekend of release. The sci-fi adventure follows gamer Wade Watts in a dystopian 2045 as he and a group of allies seek to find 3 keys hidden in the virtual reality game called The Oasis that will give them complete ownership of the worldwide program before an evil company can take control of it and the deceased creator's wealth. Like I said, Ready Player One is wonderful, and I'm glad to see it's making decent money overseas. It's still not doing as well as it deserves, though. Next, according to Deadline, Sony Pictures is preparing to launch a remake of the 1985 film Jagged Edge and have cast Academy Award-winning actress Halle Berry in the lead role. The original film was actually directed by Return of the Jedi director Richard Marquand and starred Glenn Close and Jeff Bridges. In the original, a San Francisco heiress is brutally murdered in her remote beach house. Her dashing newspaper publisher husband, Jack, is accused of committing the gruesome crime. He hires lawyer Teddy Barnes to defend him, and their chemistry spills into an affair. Even though the lawyer is falling in love, she can't shake the feeling that something isn't quite right with the case. While I really love Halle Berry, I gotta admit this is kind of an odd choice for a remake. Jagged Edge from '85, really? This one? And finally, former professional wrestler turned actor Dave Bautista has been getting extremely busy, and things are only getting busier. With the opening of his new film Avengers Infinity War just a few weeks away, there are now reports that STX Films has hired the sibling screenwriting team of John and Eric Hober to pen the studio's previously announced family action comedy starring Dave Bautista. According to Variety, the unnamed film will follow a hardened CIA operative who finds himself at the mercy of a precocious 9-year-old girl having been sent undercover to surveil her family. And listen, I have met and talked to Dave Bautista a number of times. You are going to be hard-pressed to find a nicer, sweeter, more humble guy in all of the Hollywood industry anywhere. I'm really happy for the dude's success. And that'll do it for today's installment of the Movie News Feed. And now you are all caught up on everything in the world of movie news. A little bit of a note though, I recorded the Ready Player One segment of that a little bit earlier in the weekend. And in the movie news feed segment there, I said it's now around 300 million. It's actually now approaching, Ready Player One is now approaching 400 million on the worldwide stage now that this weekend's box office totals have come in. So the legs for Ready Player One are doing pretty well. Again, though, not doing as well as it should be doing considering how high quality the film is. Okay, with that out of the way, we're going to go over to the main topics. The main topics in the show are submitted by you guys. How do you submit in a topic or a question for the John Campea Show? It's simple. You just email me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com. Put that word topic in the subject line. And of course, as always, guys, keep those emails to 90 words or less. All right, and we get things started with this. This question comes in to us from Bernard Winston, who writes, "Okay, Campea, short and sweet and to the point. Solo, a Star Wars story trailer. I'm seeing some different opinions out there, so what did you think of it? More excited for the movie now? Less? The same? Still? Let us know." All right, guys, and this is the thing. Yesterday, a lot of people have been asking. First of all, we waited a long time to get that first trailer. And the first trailer came pretty good. Pretty good trailer. Didn't blow anybody's socks off. I actually preferred the first little teaser to the trailer more than the trailer itself in the first set that came out, and that's fine. So then we've been waiting around for the second trailer to come. And the second trailer came, and I gotta tell you, I love it. I loved the trailer. Now, you know me, I've been saying for a year, I have never asked for a solo movie. I have never asked for a Star Wars solo movie. I mean, it's Star Wars, so I'm going to see it. And of course, I have a certain level of excitement about it just because it's a Star Wars movie. But, you know, I never in a million years, had I been an executive at Lucasfilm, would have gone in the direction of, yes, let's make a young Han Solo movie. I never would have done that. This is not a movie I've asked for. Then, of course, all the drama behind the scenes and with Lord Miller coming and going and having to reshoot so much of it. Thank goodness Ron Howard came on board. But, you know, I've had some trepidation. I've been a little bit nervous. This trailer reset everything. It reset everything. Now, for those of you guys who didn't see, I put up a breakdown, a scene-by-scene breakdown of the trailer up on my channel last night, so just go check that out later when you have a chance. But I adored the trailer. I thought it was great. And here's the thing. When the first Solo trailer came out, there was some excitement. There was definitely some excitement around. A lot of people thought it was better than they were expecting, all that kind of stuff, but not over the moon. And obviously, still some concerns about the movie. Totally understandable. A little bit of trepidation. My sense last night after that trailer dropped, both from, you know, reading some online chat forums, the tweets that I saw coming into me, the tweets I observed, the comments that I've been getting, it seems like this was the trailer that reset a lot of expectations. Now, look, again, nobody's blind here. We all know that a good trailer does not mean a good movie. We've seen many examples of great trailers to movies that turned out to be terrible. Fine. But for the most part, the trailer is what we have to kind of gauge our experience and our expectation for an upcoming film. And my sense was that a lot of people had their expectations reset for Solo once they saw this trailer. Because this trailer gave us a little bit of a sense of the story. We understand there's going to be a big heist involved. We got our first look at one of the villains and the bad guys. We got another look at that villain in the mask. And by the way, I know who the villain in the mask is. I got word from a source of mine about who the villain in the mask that we see fighting in the other trailer and in this trailer. And I called some people, and there's a thing about the. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it too much. Long and the short of it is, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, so I'm not going to put the spoiler out there. But so we saw the new villain, the gangster, with the scars on his face and some kind of a laser whip. We got a look at the other villain again. That great shot of the gun unbuckling. The point here is that people got excited about this trailer on a level that they didn't get excited for the last trailer. And I think now you're starting to feel a bigger swell of enthusiasm and excitement going into Solo. And it's funny because you felt that excitement amongst the more casual film fans, but the more hardcore film fans, like those of us who watch movie shows on YouTube and things like that, we weren't all that excited. But then I go into movie theaters with average movie-going audiences, and the old Solo trailer comes on, and people lose their minds. And I'm like, what? Really? Anyway, this new trailer takes it to a new level. The train heist. You get a sense of that relationship between Han and Chewie. And what do you know? I love that line. I love the fact that everybody's expecting I've got a bad feeling about this line. And instead what they give us is, I've got a really good feeling about this. I loved that. The banter between Chewie and Han's like, 190 years old, you look great. I mean, I loved that. And oh my God, Donald Glover as Lando looks fantastic. I mean, it really was a trailer that has changed the narrative for the general movie-going audience's expectations of this movie. Now, whether or not the movie pays off, that's another question entirely. We have no guarantees the movie's going to be good. It could be a total bag of shit. Might be, sure. But all we got right now is this trailer, and I think the trailer gives us a lot more reasons to be excited, and I think you can feel that excitement and that momentum building up to it, which quite frankly before wasn't there. Like this morning, I feel a sense of momentum for Solo right now that I quite honestly did not feel before. Not just for myself, but for the average film-going community as well. And that's nothing but a good thing for them. Let's see how this whole thing develops. All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from our Patreon supporter, D. Copeland Patience, who writes, regarding The Accountant, the first time I heard of the movie was when my dad asked to watch it with us after our daughter was diagnosed with autism. I personally felt it was just okay and can't see a sequel doing much better, but the word of mouth from the autism community is gangbusters. Seeing a big star like Ben Affleck be a badass helps families cope with could otherwise be a scary diagnosis. All right, well, thanks so much for sharing that, Dee. That's really nice of you to share that with the rest of us. You know, the other day we talked about how this amazing fact came out that I did not see coming from a million miles away. And for those of you who watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. The statistics came out for 2017 showing the charts for 2017 of the most purchased Blu-ray movies, the most purchased digital movies, the most rented Blu-ray movies, and the most rented digital. Now, you would think that Star Wars Rogue One and Wonder Woman would have topped all those charts, but they didn't. Topping the purchase charts, both Blu-ray and digital streaming, was Moana. Okay, that's a little surprising, but not fall out of your chair surprising. What was really surprising was the Blu-ray rental and the digital streaming rental chart. The number one movie for both Blu-ray rental and digital streaming was The Accountant, which was great to see because I loved The Accountant. I thought The Accountant was sorely underappreciated. I thought that movie was it was clever. It did something a little bit different. We had this action hero who suffered from autism, which is something we never see in movies. I thought it had great action. I loved the chemistry between John Bernthal and Ben Affleck. I just got a big kick out of the movie. Anyway, so it was great to see that. So, and I think one of the things that a lot of people, including myself admittedly, is that whole angle of the autism with the Ben Affleck character is something that I think a lot of us kind of looked at, oh, that's an interesting, different little thing, okay, and then we move on. And I think most of us, myself included, because, I don't have any direct family members who have autism, so that's something that I don't really, I can't nearly appreciate as much as people who do. And so it's really neat hearing from somebody like you, Dee, writing in to just remind people that how big of an impact what was one just kind of side detail about this movie, the character having autism, how big of a deal that is to other people. And how important, how significant that was to a lot of people. And I'm really glad you shared that with us because now it just makes me appreciate this movie even more. So, hey, remember, about 4 or 5 months ago, there's some reports that Warner Brothers was looking and they were talking with Ben Affleck about maybe doing a sequel. I hope they do. I love that original. I think you can make a new Bourne. This whole series could be a brand new Bourne series. I really believe that. And I hope they're able to move forward with it. All right, let's move on to the final emailed in topic today. And the final emailed in topic today comes to us from Julian Torres, who writes, "Hey, John, greetings from Argentina." Well, thank you for writing to us from Argentina, Julian. Sorry to bother you. You're not a bother. But I'm not good at tracking down rumors. I read that Marvel won't be showing the full theatrical release of Infinity War to critics, that they'll keep the big spoilers out. Do you know if this is true? If so, how can critics review a film if they don't see the complete version? All right, thanks a lot for sharing that, Julian, because this is a quote-unquote rumor I've been seeing getting around a lot. I've heard a number of people mention this. The rumor that's going around right now, the way the broken telephone on this has happened, was that, here's the basics of it. There are some advanced screenings before the world premiere on the 23rd, all right? The world premieres on the 23rd, and there are some advanced fan screenings going on before that, but at none of those screenings are they showing the entire movie. It's only a couple of scenes that they're showing, equaling up to a few minutes, right? Double-digit minutes. So that kind of turned into, I've seen all over the place, people saying, oh, there's no critic screenings. Or the critic screenings that they're having, they're not showing the critics the whole movie and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really glad you brought this up so we could address it here on the show. Let me be very, very, very clear about this. There are no critic screenings prior to the 23rd. And remember, the movie opens on the 27th. The 23rd is when the premiere is. There will be critic screenings that same night on the 23rd. And then there's going to be more critic screenings on the 24th, and those will be full. The critics will see the full movie. They will see the full movie. What that whole thing came from about not showing the entire movie, that's only for these special advanced fan screenings that they're not showing the entirety of the movie. They're only showing like select portions of the movie to try to make sure and safeguard against any significant spoilers getting out around the web, which was great to hear because I remember we talked about this on the show, that they were going to try to protect from spoilers, but then we heard these announcements about advanced, fan screenings like 3 weeks before the movie came out, and we were like, well, wait a minute, I thought you were trying to protect against spoilers. Turns out those advanced screenings, those fan screenings, are only portions of the film. However, when the actual critic screenings happen on the 23rd and 24th, those are going to be the full-blown version of the movie. And by the way, I believe the review embargo lifts on the 23rd. So, which is 4 days before the release of the film, which is totally standard. I know a lot of people have been concerned about the embargo date, but that's only because Marvel, unlike most studios, will lift their review embargo dates like a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before a movie come out. A lot of movies, an awful lot of movies, have their review embargo dates like 3-4 days before the movie comes out. That's just kind of standard. And so Marvel has decided to adopt the standard for this one. It's not like some movie situations where the review embargo lifts like 12 hours before a movie comes out. That's a different thing altogether. As long as it's at least 2 days, maybe 3 days before a movie come out, there's no need for concern about that. But yeah, getting back to the original question about the critic screenings. The critic screenings will be full-blown, full movie screenings. They just don't happen until the 23rd. So anyway, I hope that clears that up just a little bit. All right, guys, that will do it for the email questions for today. We're about to get into some of your live questions. But listen, before we get into your live questions, I gave you guys some homework over the weekend and last Friday. And I told you guys, when you see A Quiet Place, I want you to jump on the Stardust app. And by the way, if you don't have the Stardust app, the link for the Stardust app is in the description below. It's a fantastic app. They're one of the sponsors of the show. I love using this app. It's so simple. You can record 3 to 30-second reviews and share it with the world just like that. But I asked you guys to record your reactions to A Quiet Place and tag me at John Campea. And I said I would gather together some of my favorites and share them with the rest of you guys. So this is your guys' reactions to the new movie, A Quiet Place.
Just got done seeing A Quiet Place, man. That is an excellent movie. As far as I'm concerned, this movie is the movie of the year for me right now. I know it's early in 2018.
Okay, we just came out of the Quiet Place, and what do you think, guys?
I think it was good.
Think it was good? Nathan, you got anything to say?
Yes.
Yes?
So I watched A Quiet Place yesterday, and man, I wasn't expecting a lot from a PG-13 horror movie, but it does deliver.
Just got home from seeing A Quiet Place, guys. What an amazingly directed movie. John Krasinski is talented. The palpable tension throughout the course of that movie was amazing. 2 things I love, guys. The CGI does not let you down. It is quality. And the other thing I thought, the way that movie was shot, the cinematography was beautiful. It told a tale when very limited words are used in this movie.
Place, not a movie to watch on a first day with a woman. You won't be man enough in the theater. But it's a good movie.
So guys, I just got home after seeing John Krasinski's A Quiet Place in the cinema. I can honestly say this was one of the most intense movie-going experiences of my life. Look, I don't really like the horror film genre. I don't particularly like paying to have the shit scared out of me, but on this occasion I have no regrets whatsoever. Krasinski has not only proven himself as a director here, but as an actor. My God, along with the rest of the cast, with little to no dialogue, they've conveyed such a sense of uneasiness, fear. It's so good.
This is the most emotional, most heartbreaking, and the most clever horror movie I've seen in probably the last decade. All of the actors did a great job, especially Emily Blunt. Go run out there and go see this with a fucking crowd.
Okay, I just went and saw A Quiet Place. It was crazy. I hate scary movies. I hate horror. I never go see it. But this movie was awesome. It made me feel every emotion in the spectrum. I even cried in this movie.
Hi, all. It's just me today. Just kidding. Really good, solid thriller horror flick. Performance driven. Score is beautiful. Hardly any dialogue. Favorite performance?
Emily Blunt, by far.
So I'm not like a horror movie person at all. I avoid them wherever possible. I fucking love this movie. I love it so much. Just the emotion, the performances. Just hand John Krasinski like a Best Lead Actor award, like Academy Award right now.
Oh my goodness, that movie was amazing. Beautiful performances all around. I knew John Krasinski was going to be amazing because he already had facial expressions down in The Office, so he was just awesome.
What everyone says is absolutely true. The horror aspect is absolutely terrifying and it works on every level. But the one I wasn't expecting was how emotionally gripping the family was and the characters. The acting is amazing. The development was so fantastic and I ended up falling in love with each one of these characters on this journey with them.
All right, and those are your reactions to A Quiet Place. Guys, if you haven't seen A Quiet Place yet, you absolutely got to get out and see this. I loved this movie. My favorite reaction, I got to say, was from Tracy. I've probably watched Tracy's reaction like 6 times. She's like, I don't like scary movies. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I love her. So that was great. Thank you guys and all the rest of you guys who sent in your reactions to that as well. Listen, guys, new homework assignment. I want you guys to jump on the Stardust app. Tell me what you think about this Solo trailer, but also anything else. Talk about the Solo trailer. Talk about a new movie you just saw. Talk about anything you guys want to in our What We're Watching segment. That'll come up either tomorrow or the next day, but start sending in the rest of your reactions as well. Once again, The link for the Stardust app is in the description below. Go and grab it. And make sure you tag me at John Campea in your reaction. That way I'll actually be able to see it. All right, guys, with that out of the way, let's jump into some live questions. You guys have been firing in a bunch. So we're going to get things started here with Alexander Helmer, who writes, all 4 movies I've seen in 2018 are your 4 favorites. Yeah, we talked about what I think are the 4 best movies of 2018 so far. I said Ready Player One, Paddington 2, A Quiet Place, and Black Panther. I mean, those I think are the 4 best movies of the year so far. So far, great start to the year. Quarter 1 is now done of 2018, and I think we're off to a great start for the year. All right, next question comes to us from Edmund Zippo, who writes, the Solo trailer got me 100% on board. And Edmund, that's the thing. That's what I'm feeling from people, is that a lot of people who are kind of on the border about it. I mean, it didn't get everybody on board. No trailer's going to get everybody on board, and that's totally fine. But I am getting that sense from a lot of people like yourself, Edmund, that after watching that trailer, it's like, okay, I was iffy, and who knows if it'll be good or not, but I was iffy, but now I'm on board, and I'm seeing a lot of people react that way. Alexander Helmer writes, if they create an Oscar category for Best Motion Capture Performance or Best Voice Acting, would they have to split them into male and female? You know, that's a good question. A lot of times people ask about, should they create a motion capture category? Should they create a voice acting category? Things like that. That is an interesting question, though, about if they did do it, would they split that into male and female? I'm going to guess no. Because the differences in the performances that are required from, male characters and female characters, I don't think are as distinct when it comes to motion capture or voice acting. Maybe I'm dead wrong. It's just my initial reaction to it, but it's a great question. Discuss amongst yourselves. What do you guys think? If they did say next year started a Motion Capture Academy Award, do you think it should just be an award for Best Motion Capture Performance, or do you think they should separate it into male and female? I'm curious to know what you guys think. My initial reaction is no, but I could be convinced otherwise. Let me know what you guys think. All right, next one comes to us from Murray for Us, who writes, love the new Solo trailer. Looks great. Alden and Donald look and sound great. Looks like it's going to be some good old smuggling Western feel to the film. When can we buy tickets? Yeah, I have no idea yet. Don't laugh. I was asking a friend of mine the other day, about if we had any word yet on when advance tickets were going to go on sale. But no knowledge about that yet. But you're right. This new trailer gave it that Western kind of feel, which I just adored and love. And the train heist. What screams Western genre more than a good train heist? And that just made me smile ear to ear, seeing all that kind of unfolding, the Chewies, all that kind of stuff, man. For the first time, I mean, again, the Solo movie is a Star Wars movie, so I have a built-in amount of excitement for it, sure. But it was after this trailer that I was visibly excited. I'm now visibly excited to see this movie. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing. But as soon as I find out about when these tickets are going on sale, I'll let you know. If you guys have heard anything about when tickets go on sale, please, by all means, share that with everybody else in the comments section below. All right, let's move on here. Next one comes to us from Patrick Conway, who writes, is Paul Bettany the big bad? And what are Space Whale? Okay, so I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, Paul Bettany. If you're talking about Paul Bettany in the Solo trailer, I don't think that was... Oh, was that Paul? Maybe that was Paul Bettany. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. Maybe that was Paul Bettany. You guys are now probably screening me at the screen going, Campea, that was obviously Paul Bettany. I didn't even think about it. I got to look at that again. Maybe that was Paul Bettany. As far as the Space Whale goes, it's a creature that was introduced in Rebels, the animated show. And it's literally what it sounds like. It's space whales, except instead of just a tail, they've got tentacles, right? So that's why I'm a little bit, and I hate space whales. I hate the space whales. I hope those are not space whales. Then again, I don't like giant space tentacle monsters either, so I wasn't thrilled about that in the Solo trailer, I'll be honest. But I'm just hoping it's not space whales. Murray for Us writes, with both Deadpool 2 and Solo trailers being hits, it's going to be interesting to see who wins the box office. Yeah, I've been predicting for a long time that I believe Deadpool 2 wins the May box office. Now that Avengers Infinity War is technically an April movie, I think Deadpool 2 wins the May box office. I think Deadpool 2 makes more at the box office than Solo: A Star Wars: A Story. Although I hate calling it that. I just rather call it Star Wars Solo. Anyway, Now I'm not so sure. Now that we're seeing these tracking numbers coming out, which are way bigger than I thought. Now we're seeing that these domestic tracking numbers as well. Now that I'm seeing the reaction to this trailer, I don't know. I might have to rethink that. But as you guys know, my prediction all along has been Deadpool makes more than Solo. I think they both do fine. I think they both do very good business, and they'll both be very, very happy. They'll make their studio heads very happy. But I thought Deadpool would make more than Solo. I don't know. Maybe we've got to rethink that. I mean, seeing the reaction to this trailer has really caught me off guard, and how good this trailer was caught me off guard. So might have to rethink. But either way, May is going to be a very big box office weekend. All right. Next one comes to us from James Welsh, who writes, is there a reason over the years Disney has put out movies based on inspirational sports stories like The Rookie, Glory Road, and similar films? Oh, they put out a lot of, like, whether you're talking $1 Million Arm or things like that. Yeah, because people love nice, emotional, inspirational, true sports movies. People just kind of dig them. They've had some success with them, and for a smaller niche market, but they work and people enjoy them, and they're great stories. And Disney's not the only one to put those types of movies out. We've seen every studio put out their share of inspirational sports-based movies. We've seen that a lot, and it's just one that works, especially when you find the right story. So, yeah, but I don't think it's by any means is a Disney-specific thing. We've seen every studio kind of put those kind of things out because people just find them, they warm up to them really easily. Murray for us writes, that new droid may be the next K2SO. Oh, no kidding. I don't think even Lucasfilm or Disney was expecting how big of a hit K2SO was going to be with the audience out of Rogue One. Of course, voiced by Alan Tudyk in that. It's such a great character. Some of the best lines in that movie came from K2SO. And now this new L3 could be the new K2SO. We didn't see a lot of L3 in this trailer, but what we did see was pretty fun. And again, that whole Donald Glover, baby, you might want to strap in, baby. I'm just like, oh my God, that's so good. Just the last baby, just him throwing in baby there is like, okay, you are so Lando Calrissian. I'm on board. A beautifully written line. I loved it. Okay, let's see. Jedi Knight and friend to Captain Solo writes, Solo trailer had more laughs than The Last Jedi. I loved it. Yeah, I loved it too. I think The Last Jedi was funnier than some people gave it credit for, but yeah, I mean, I am completely on board. That, to me, I think a lot of people favorite lines might be like the 190 years old. You look great. I mean, that was fantastic. And I think a lot of people will even go to the other fantastic line of, I have a really good feeling about that. That was hilarious. But I still think for me, my favorite part, and the part that I grinned the biggest and laughed the hardest, was because it was so perfectly Han and Chewie. And Chewie's like, and Han's like, what do you know? And it's like, that's perfect Han and Chewie. That was like perfect Han and Chewie. It just made my heart happy seeing that scene. So that might have been my actual favorite part. All right, next up comes to us from Quijano98 or 89, who writes, Hawkeye will return with his backup at the end of Infinity War when the Avengers are losing. Not Captain Marvel, but the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. And speaking of the accountant, which we were talking about a little bit earlier, remember there was those reports going around that Anna Kendrick said she wanted to play Squirrel Girl? Which is funny. So Andrew Kendrick shows up at the end with Jeremy Renner, and they save the day. That would be hilarious. Not going to happen, by the way, but that would be hilarious. Okay. Sam Fisher writes, we got about 5 minutes left here. Sam Fisher writes, I have a theory that the Soul Stone won't even be mentioned in Infinity War, and it will be revealed at the end credit scene. I also think there will only be one end credit scene. See, I don't know. I think with the one end credit scene thing, I think if the next Marvel Cinematic Universe movie was Avengers 4, I might be inclined to agree with you. However, we have two other Marvel, like MCU movies coming out between now and Avengers 4. And quite often they'll use, the end credit scene to kind of put a spotlight on another film. So I got a feeling they will do two end credit scenes. I have a feeling, I don't think they'll do three, but I do think they'll do two. So who knows, maybe you're right, but I'm going to put my $5 on them doing two end credit scenes. Brennan Torres writes, the daughter from A Quiet Place is deaf in real life. Yes, she is. It was really cool because where I saw A Quiet Place at an early screening at an ArcLight cinema. And then after the movie was done, they showed this little behind the scenes special video talking to John Krasinski and the cast, and they talked about casting a girl who was deaf in real life. And that brought such a sense of authenticity to her character, and she was wonderful in that. And so was the little brother. The little brother, his facial acting in that, like when he was scared, some of the best I've ever seen. It was so well done. But you're right, real life a deaf girl. Rob McDonald writes, Leafs versus Bruins in round 1. What do you think? Man, I bleed blue and white, but I have learned over the course of my lifetime never to get my hopes too high for the Maple Leafs. They're getting there. They are getting there. But the Bruins, tough. I'm not willing to make a prediction. Nick James writes, favorite original Nolan film. So not Dark Knight trilogy or Dunkirk. Oh, that's easy. I say it all the time. My favorite Nolan film, just in general, is probably Insomnia. I think Insomnia is his most underrated film. I also think it's his best film. I love that movie. We're talking Robin Williams, Al Pacino, Hilary Swank. If you have not watched Insomnia, and I know a lot of you guys have not watched Insomnia, watch Insomnia. Other than that, make sure you watch Memento, Memento's the movie that really put Christopher Nolan on the map. But Insomnia, I just love that film. Okay, Michael Ginyard writes, when Han says to Chewie, you're 190 years old, do you think it's 10 years before episode 4? You know what? I didn't even think about that. I can't even remember off the top of my head. Shame on me for this. I can't even remember off the top of my head how old Chewie's supposed to be in A New Hope. So I didn't instantly go to that math, but that's a very good point you raise, and I'm going to do a little bit of digging because that may actually give us an exact detail of exactly how far before the events of A New Hope does this movie happen. Chewie's age may give that away. Kalis Menon writes, saw A Quiet Place last night, thought it was a fantastic and best film of 2018 this year. Best picture nomination possibility. Far too early to say. All I'm going to say is this. I've mentioned before that as of right now, I will not be surprised at all if I was able to look into a magic window forward to the next Academy Awards, I wouldn't be shocked at all if we saw A Quiet Place being nominated for Best Picture. Again, far too much of the year still to come, far too many movies still to come. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, you won't even think Quiet Place is in the top 20 anymore. Like, we just don't know. So it's far too early to say, but my God, if the Academy Awards were tomorrow, it would not only be nominated, it might be considered a frontrunner. Cybergorn Star Trooper, what a great name, writes, would Justice League have done okay if Superman had beard / better CGI? Nah. That was just, to me, the whole CGI mustache thing was just fuel to the fire. I don't care what anybody else says. I still like Justice League. I went to go see it like 7 times in theaters. I like the movie, but I acknowledge it had its problems. It really did have its problems. I really don't think, I think the mustache just kind of become the mascot for what everybody wanted to complain about with Justice League, but ultimately I really don't think it made that big of a difference. As far as the box office returns go, I don't think it affected it all that much, to be honest with you. It was a big glaring issue, but not an issue that I think kept people away from the movie theater. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't think it would have made much of a difference. Okay, just a couple more here, guys. And by the way, guys, listen, if you've sent in a live question and I don't get to it, don't worry. A little bit later today, I've got a companion video coming, and I will get all of your questions that you have sent in that I don't have time to get to will be answered in that companion video a little bit later today. So keep your eyes open for that. All right. Listen, Matthew Correra writes, would you consider Blumhouse to be the ones who reignited the horror genre? It's difficult to argue against that. I mean, when you look at the stuff that Blumhouse has been putting out, not only just really good horror movies, but really good horror movies on a budget, which to me is that's the legacy of good horror. That's the legacy of great horror, is like on a budget, filmmakers on a budget making these like really great little movies, and that seems to be Blumhouse's complete life philosophy when it comes to these things. And they've done such a good job. So you know what? I'd have to sit down and think about that, but it's difficult not to make an argument for that. I think you raise a really good, valid point. Okay, Celtic Jib 33 writes, Would you and Ann participate in The Purge if real? Nah. No, I'd go back to Canada, hold up, go to the Campea Ranch. My family's got a big ranch up there, like 200 acres, nobody around you. We just hold up there, no problem. My dad's got a lot of guns. My dad's got a lot of guns. I said my dad's grown up as he's a sports hunter, so my dad likes going hunting. My dad's not a gun nut by any stretch of the imagination. He's been into hunting his whole life. He loves having hunting dogs, beagles. He hunts a lot, so he's got these lockers with a lot of guns. Yeah. Anyway, that's probably I would just go and hold up. Let's put it this way: if the Purge was real and we were stuck here and we were in the Purge, I give Anne a much bigger chance of survival than me. All right, final question of the day comes to us from Hans Gruber, who writes, love the guitar intro with the hints of Skywalker theme, and the movie is looking promising, talking about the Solo trailer. You know what? At first, when that pops in, I thought, oh, that's an odd choice. But then it starts playing, and I'm like, this feels like adventure heist music. And I just started getting into the music. I'm like, no, I love this music. Like I said, when the first couple of notes hit, I thought, oh, that's an odd choice. But then it started playing, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this is like smuggler, scoundrel, adventure, heist music to a T, and it brought me into the trailer even more. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that part of it was just fantastic. Okay, guys, that will do it for me for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Don't forget, guys, we're back here again on every morning. And also, if you like the live question aspect, in the afternoons, we have a little show here called Open Mic. That's all we do for an hour. Just an hour straight of just live questions. Just taking your guys' questions, boom, 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 boom. Make sure you come back and join us. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for that. A little bit later today, guys, I've got a special editorial video. As you all know, we're all super excited. I am super excited for Avengers Infinity War. Cannot wait. But every movie has some things you could be concerned about going into it. And I'm going to be putting up my video a little bit later today of my 3 things that I think we need to be concerned about for Avengers Infinity War. Check back for that a little bit later. Of course, we've got the companion video coming later today as well. And then, of course, at 2 o'clock, we've got Open Mic. So make sure you're back and joining us for that. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.